What's up, guys? Christian Soto here for RedChipPoker.com, and we're back in the forum streets duking it out. All right, so this post comes from Scott Val, and he's playing 1-3 no limit, the baby game at the Miss West American Casino. So stacks are 300. A fairly tight guy opens to 12, and he calls in late position with ace 6 of clubs. I think that's perfectly fine. You can 3-bet, you can call, whatever you want. And both blinds call, so the pot is $48, and he has 288 behind. The flop comes queen of clubs, jack of clubs, jack of hearts. And it goes check, check, check to him, and he has a decision between checking and betting. I want to talk about the spot briefly. I don't think betting is a mistake, obviously, given the fact that you have a ton of equity in the hand. But I want to show you guys a little trick, right? So in a spot where the original raiser should be betting at a high frequency, so when it comes jack, queen, jack, jack, right? That hits his range. He should be betting there a lot of the time, right? Sometimes when he chooses to check, it's not a check to fold. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes you want to check behind in spots where the original raiser is checking in a situation where he should be betting at a high frequency, right? I hope you guys understand that. So, like I said, I don't think betting here is incorrect. I just want you guys to be able to recognize situations where the original raiser should be betting at a high frequency, but he's choosing to check. So most of those instances means that he's not checking to fold. So sometimes it's nice to check it back there and try to actualize equity in a situation where he's gonna think that you're gonna bet hands like the one you have. See what I'm saying? But you choose to bet, and I think that's okay. And it folds around, and the pre-flop raiser calls, right? And the turn comes a small club. He checks, so obviously now we have the nut flush. And you choose to bet 65 into a pot of 183. I'm not sure why you chose that bet size. I think you should have bet slightly bigger. But yeah, that's what I think. And he check raises all in, and it's 188 more to call, right? And you fold. I think this is a huge mistake. Huge, right? And let me explain why, right? It's 188 more, right? The pot is 436, and you have the nut flush. Hello? Yeah, so you should just be looking to snap that off as like real quick. Yes, he could have queens full. Yes, he could have queen jack. Yes, he could have quads. But he can also have a misplayed jack. He can have a king high flush, right? He could very easily have king 10 of clubs, right? I mean, he could have misplayed it, not check raise the flop, just check call. He could have 10 8 of clubs. He could have a whole bunch of hands that are worse than your hand, which means that you should be calling here pretty easily, right? So when you're deciding when to make a hero fold, you have to take into consideration what hands can my opponent be value shoving, right, that I beat, and are there enough of those, right? Because let's be honest, he's not bluffing, right? Chances are he's not bluffing taking this line, because if he wanted to bluff, chances are he just would have c-bet flop, because that's the easiest line for him to take in a bluff. So when he takes this line, he's not bluffing. But the problem is, there's a lot of hands in his range that you beat that he's value shoving, right? Jack X, king high flush, all other flushes, and maybe sometimes he misplays a queen, right? Maybe he has king queen with the king of clubs. What I'm saying is, there's way too many hands in his range that allow you to make this a pretty easy call and just live with the consequences. So unfortunately, our opponent shows queen queen, and we lose the pot. I mean, we folded somehow, so we would have lost the pot, and I personally would have lost more money. So Scott Val, you saved more money than I would have saved, but I think that you should be calling here in the long run. I think it's a better play. Also, just keep in mind the little trick that I showed you, that in situations where your opponent's supposed to be betting at a high frequency and you have a draw, but he checks to you, sometimes it's good to check it back, because chances are he's not going to be check folding all the time. So yeah, I hope you guys got something out this hand, and if you have anything else to add, just shoot it in the thread and I'll get right to it. Peace.